And this technology development always impact all countries, not only Indonesia, but all countries in the world. Now, the problem is every technology has a positive and negative impact.
Please first explain what the digital divide is and how it can affect education and career opportunities in Indonesia.
So usability means that once we got the internet access, what are we going to do about it?
Podcast Nusantara adalah persembahan dari Nusantara Data Center Academy yang memiliki visi untuk menumbuhkan talenta digital yang berkompeten di dalam industri data center.
So, some well-known media publications such as Forbes and Harvard Business Review are starting to emerge with a new hiring trend called skills first hiring. What are your views on this trend, and will this be quickly adopted by companies in Indonesia? Please, Pak Erick.
Okay. Skill first hiring. I think from my perspective, talking with different counterparts in the industry, right now, if we talk about digital, because the gap that is happening in the talent market, in the digital talent market is so huge, the industry focuses more on who can actually provision this army of talents, work ready army of talents that is specifically, have specific competencies that could actually be adopted or could be recruited for these specific industries, right? So that's one. And I think the other thing when we talk about skills first, more and more institutions, companies, and organizations, if we talk about Indonesia, are shifting towards that. It's not about the degree anymore, but it's about the skills, right? Do you have the specific skills that we need in order to deliver the job, in order to deliver the mission of the company or of the organization? So I think that's the first point that I want to touch base. The second thing is that when we talk about skills first hiring, I think most of organizations, they are being trapped in a situation whereby you hire based on skills, and then the talents get into the organizations, but after that, there's no development. I think this is something that most of us neglect, that the talents needs to be either reskilled or upskilled, right? Once they are in the organization. And also, how do we ensure that these talents are progressing towards their career ladder? So my take on skills first hiring is not only about when you hire based on the skills, but how do you maintain and also uplift the skills during the journey of that particular person inside the organization.
Okay, all right. So, Pak Ashwin, what's your opinion on this skills first hiring? Will this be quickly adopted by many companies in Indonesia?
Hang on. First of all, I think Pak Erick's point about the index declining is very important. But for me, it shows also that internet access is not everything. Yeah. You have high internet access, strong internet access, but if you don't add it with some knowledge that able to be used, where you can use the internet access for productive activities, then what you get is only internet access.
True.
And your competitiveness index is declining. Because you cannot use internet access for productive. Hopefully it is not destructive. Because Pak Erick mentioned also about negative aspect of internet access. I mean, it is very well known.
Yes.
And so many bad contents in the internet, not only good content. Now, but for the skill first hiring, this is important, you see. This type of hiring is on the rise, but don't forget, first of all, the school leavers has to have a skill. Now, then to get that skill, I think the school has to cooperate with other institutions, for example, certification institutions, training institutions. Now, I mentioned this because many years ago, when I was 18 years old, I passed my high school Very old story, but when I passed, I finished my high school in Jakarta. Then the school, my high school SMA, also work with training institutions to prepare us to enter university, because we call it bimbel. Today they call it bimbel, bimbingan belajar, training institutions for getting to pass the university exams, because there are many things that you do not learn at the high school. For example, multiple choice selection
Procedure. Yeah.
test procedures.
Yeah.
Then in my time, we have to make around a black with two B pencil,
Yeah,
black
yeah,
pencil, for that one. We never do that in the high school,
Yes.
but they did it in the university test. And perhaps not only that, we have to be able to work on with a small what you call it, paper, not paper, what you call it, kayu, block notes, something like that, and we have to do like this. While in the school, we do our test on a
Notebook.
table,
Yeah, yeah.
not like this. You see, we do the test in the classroom. In the university test, I did it in Senayan. Senayan Square. There's a place of 100,000 students doing the test. I went to this. Now that bimbingan belajar, that situation tells us to prepare us not only for the technical but also for the non-technical. It is different, you see, doing the test in the classroom and doing the test at Senayan. That's different. So you have to prepare both technical and non-technical, and that's why I mentioned that I think the skill first hiring, first of all, you have to have the skill. Not to get the skill, as I mentioned, the school has to work with other institution. With Pak Erick's academy, for example. There's a good bimbel for the school leavers before they go to industry. They have to prepare it. But one thing is important is do not forget that with technology and science technology development, skills today might be obsolete in a very short time. So what does it mean? It means the guy who had that skill must be able to be trained later after this for a continuous skill training activities. Because you have the skill today, in a few months it will be obsolete. You have to train again. In a few months it will be obsolete again. Now, so one skill is not enough, because in a few months it will be obsolete. Then you have to be able to be trained. Now, I think that's the difference between the previous hiring system and the current hiring system. Previously, you hire people which is trainable. You hire people, the industry will train you to do the job. Now today, why should I hire people and I should train them? I will be better hire people which already have skill. Not the skill, it means that after you leave the school, you get the training for your skill, but then that people has to be able to follow continuous training activities to always improve their skill, because ICT develop very fast. Mm-hmm. That's my perspective, you see, for first hiring. Okay. Not only enough. First hiring is not enough. Continuous training skills development is needed for that first skill hiring.
Very interesting insight. So, Pak Erick, you run a mission training vocational school students who are later be placed in the ecosystem of one of the largest banking corporation in Indonesia. According to you, do other companies need to start following the steps to adopt skills first hiring and provide digital job opportunities to those who do not have a bachelor's degree? And could you please also share with us what are the benefits for companies if they collaborate and recruit vocational school students?
Okay, so there are two questions, right? So the first question is, should the industry follow the footsteps? I think there are a lot of corporations right now who are doing the same thing. Either they are doing with a third party, or they are doing, based on themselves. Most of them are doing that on a basis of corporate social responsibility as well. But I think When I'm being asked, why should you do it? Yeah, you do it, right? So my answer is always, come back to the why. Why should we do this? So if we talk about the why, companies would be able to get specific competency workers if they also dedicate the time and effort to actually create one. And why do I say so? Because if we take a look at the general education system that we have in our country, most are, let's not talk about the higher education on the university level. Let's talk about, the senior high schools, right? The vocational schools. Although they are meant to create people who have specific competencies, but what they are lacking is that these competencies are not being updated, from time to time. And if we talk about digital, as Pak Ashwin mentioned, as if we talk about technology, it becomes obsolete far way faster than any other conventional things, right? So meaning that the curriculum itself needs to be updated from time to time, right? That's one. And the second thing, the industry itself, do they require? Yes, they require if they feel that they have that requirement. If they feel that it's okay, so we can still do the business or do the pace of the organizations without this, then they don't need it. But most of the I would say organizations and including the stakeholders feel the need. So now comes to the second question: what is the benefit? So since 2019, actually our government has laid out a plan. It's actually, they call it STD, Super Tax Deduction Program. So the STD program actually incentivizes organizations or corporations who adopt the vocational model, the vocational program, which will produce specific competency. This model, if the organization adopt, they will receive or they can claim different incentives throughout the journey, including the making of the program itself, the payment to the tutors, to the teachers, to the facilitators, up until the payment of either incentive or salary for the working salary for the workers who are coming from the vocational schools. So this is something that I have seen happen, and unfortunately, not all organizations or all corporations know about the policy. So this is something that I think we advocate as well, because the government has laid out something good and it has to be continued, I would say, because the benefits then again come back to the industry. They get specific people with specific competency right on the spot to work on the first day, but they also get financial benefits from the government, from tax return, tax incentives, and so on and so forth. So I would say there's really nothing to lose for the industry to adopt this model. And we are doing this on the basis because most of, I would say, the industry partners means that the organizations who wants to adopt this model, but they don't know how. So this is where we come in.
Okay, interesting. Pak Ashwin, building off of Pak Erick has said, what might make companies reluctant to do skills first hiring? What can be campaigned to hiring managers so that they do not overlook candidates who are actually capable but do not have a bachelor's degree?
Well, you see, Pak Erick has just mentioned about the changes of the hiring system using skill-based. Now, first of all, we have to remember that many years ago, companies hire people based on the knowledge based. Okay, you have these capabilities, you have this knowledge, is enough for me, for the industry. Then I will train you. But today, things has changed after so many years. because there are many institutions with tools that are able to prepare the students, the high school leavers, not only for knowledge but also for skills, which is many years ago is not available. So this is STD is one of them, but there are still many other things.
Yeah.
For example, the government set up the SKKNI. What's call it? I should think what is in English, but it is a work competency standard.
Yeah.
So this one of standard, and in addition to that, many global companies also set up their so-called certification, technical certifications, and they are also able here. Well, in my time, many years ago, we only have TOEFL and IELTS,
Yeah.
for language certifications. Now we have so many certification systems, not only language, but also technical, also electrical, electronics, and so on and so on, software, and so on. So in this case, the industry now is able to do what they cannot do many years ago. Many years ago, they have to train themselves because the tools is not there.
Yeah.
The training institution is not there. So they have to train them. But today, between the school leavers and the industry, because the school still needs to give knowledge to their students, but the industry needs the skill. So if the school has to give the skills by themselves, maybe they are not able to do that. They are also always able to do that, you see, if they work more than they are doing previously. But they can also cooperate with institutions that give skill-based knowledge, that skill-based capabilities, work with them. And so the industry get, I'm happy. Now I have people that have not only trainable, provided by the schools, but also have the skills provided from the cooperation between the schools and the training institutions. And in this case, everything has changed. The school has to change with the tools and the new institutions, training institutions, and also the industry has to change. So together we change. And as you know, nothing in this world, everything always changes every time, So this also changes.
Okay. All right then. So coming back to what you have talked previously, what other commitments should companies provide to continuously support and optimize the careers of their digital talents, Pak Erick?
Okay, I think first thing that comes to mind is from the support from the top management. So the top management should realize that everyone working for in the company, they should be able to get ahead, from what they stand for at the moment. So that's one. The second thing is that the top management, including this, I think most importantly the CEO, should understand that talent management is a process that needs to be managed. Internally, they have to have specific people or department who manage all the processes, and then externally they have to have relationships with either providers or different stakeholders who could actually contribute to the advancement of talents inside the organization. I think that's the mindset that needs to happen on the top level first, and as we progress, the talent itself matters because not all talents wants to get ahead in life. No, that's the fact. So what I have found in corporate jobs, in corporate positions, there are certain people who are they are quite comfortable in where they are right now, right? So because I think maybe those people see working as a trade-off, of getting financial rewards, to be able to support their life. But there are other, I would say, individuals who view work as a basis to progress themselves, right? So when the company prepares the program, then it means both ways because the talent wants to have it. They want to achieve. They want to get ahead, and the companies want to see them also get ahead in the company and also in their life. So I think that goes both ways, from the companies itself, and then the company, the specific people from the company, including the line managers, the first line managers. They need to be able to identify which individuals who would fall in this category. Right. So I think that's one. The second thing is that finding the right partner outside, as a provider. As we all know, not all knowledge or things or specific competencies could be, people inside the organization knows that you need this, but they might not be able to actually teach the younger generations in the organizations how to do it. They don't have the methodology, and it also might be in the situation that they just don't have the time, right? So finding the right strategic partner to be able to run through the journey with them, I think is also crucial and critical, for the success of this program.
Okay, very interesting. So it needs a commitment from both the industry and also the talents to get ahead, right? Pak Ashwin, what do you think about what kind of commitment should companies provide to support their human resources?
First of all, Pak Erick's basic philosophy is very important. You see, people are different one to another. You have people which always want to go ahead and so on and so on. People I would like to stay here and improve my capabilities at this point. Yeah. We have, in Indonesia, you have 230 million people. In the world, you have how many? 4 billion?
8 billion.
8 billion people. How can you make everybody the same? You cannot.
Yes.
If everybody wants to be the president,
Yeah.
I think we have difficulties.
It's gonna be a problem.
We have a problem. 230 million people everybody would like to go for the presidency election. That will be a problem. So everybody has their own passion. I mean, will be different from one to another. But something in common is perhaps, I think, that the company have to prepare to receive all those type of people, you see. And because not everybody will become the CEO of the companies. So they have to prepare this. But one thing should be important, because science and technology always develop, ecosystem always change, and hence the company needs the so-called continuous knowledge and skill development. Whatever, involve all aspect, technical, non-technical, soft skill, hard skill. They have to be able to be to make the people have the capabilities to adopt these changes. And one thing is, for example, which is important, is it is the people that change the organizations. The organization will not change itself. The management, the people on this organization that change the organizations, because organization is a dead thing, It's a piece of paper.
Yes.
PT XYZ or XYZ corporations, it's a company. But that's all. It's on papers. It's the people in that company that may change the company, that they develop the company to make a global or local companies or whatever. Yeah. It is the people that do the change. So I think this is, and that people needs continuous development for their life, along their life.
Okay. Mind-blowing, I think. So, looking at the rapid development of the digital world, compared to more bureaucratic large corporations and government offices, will these larger institutions or companies have a harder time adopting agile learning and development for their various workforces? How can organizations place people development as a key pillar in the business sustainability strategy? Pak Ashwin, please.
Oh, rapid development and digital world. My goodness. In my time, when I passed my university degree, I still have to put resistor and capacitor together, And when I do soldering, I have to use micro soldering and so on and so on. Now, things has gone. They still do that, but the machine do it, and we have to set up the system, push hardware and software together. So as things, science and technology develop so fast, And as I mentioned before, it is the people that change the organizations, whether it is in the government, in large corporation, or even in a startup, in small companies. The people do the change and the people do the organization development. And in this case, I always believe that if you want to improve the organization, whatever is an organization, whether it's a government organization, a large corporation, or even a small, it is the people in that organization that will do the change. So I think Pak Erick's point is important because he said that the academy is going to empower the people for the capabilities needed for the current and future ecosystem. And they have to empower the people to have the higher capability for the people so that not with that skills, with that capabilities, they can improve the organizations. I think that's my point, and history always say it actually. We can see large corporation going down, fade away, and because history always repeats itself, we can learn from the historic experience. And the company do not change because the people doesn't change, then it's time for them. It's a matter of time before even a big company will fade away. That's it.
The change that is going to happen to adopt the rapid development of technology is not coming from the technology, it's coming from the people.
What can be done internally to further develop the skills of their students and then externally promote the skills of their graduates to the industry? Perhaps Pak Erick first.
Satellites. You have we have the same problem. Suddenly we have a big Earth station. How can we operate?